What's up, gamers? Welcome to Gamer Rant. My name's Kevin. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Ubisoft because apparently they decided to bond to the Star Wars Outlaws. Comes under fire for Jabba the Hutt Season Pass exclusive. It's just one Jabba mission among many, as if that's the fucking point.
Why isn't it in the fucking game without a pre-order? You blind? Stupid fucking fanboyism.
Microtransactions and
DRM. Downloadable content.
But it's definitely not the only Jabba the Hutt mission in the game, according to Ubisoft. To clarify, Jabba the Hutt and the Hutt Cartel are one of the many syndicates in Star Wars Outlaws and will be a part of the experience for everyone who purchases the game regardless of edition. A Ubisoft rep told us the Jabba's Gambit mission is an optional edition mission with the Hutt Cartel along Kay and Nix's journey across the Outer Rim. This mission will be available to those who purchase the Season Pass or an edition of the game which includes the Season Pass. So, I don't even know why they decided to respond, because objectively it doesn't disprove anything that most gamers have ultimately stated. It's as if they looked at all of the criticism and they're like, oh, wait a minute, they think that we're just paywalling Jabba the Hutt, entire storyline. But nobody stated that, oh, they're paywalling Jabba the Hutt a bunch of side missions. It doesn't even iterate that. It literally says one mission. So why would you need to come to the defense to be like, oh, hey, well, you'll still be able to play other Jabba the Hutt missions? It's like, that wasn't even the point. That wasn't even the argument. Like, all of the gamers are hanging out in the baseball field, and Ubisoft decided to go off in left field for no fucking reason, because apparently they don't pay attention to what people are actually talking about. It still sucks to gate launch content behind season passes and pre-order incentives, but rest assured that your appetite for the will still go stated in Star Wars Outlaws whether you pay out big or not. And just quietly, I understand the principle of the thing, but how many people play every single piece of side content in a Ubisoft game? So here we have, Sean Prescott, Mr. White Knight of Ubisoft. He's got to throw in a little bit of defense for Ubisoft. He's got to defend them a little bit, We can't have an article that completely, degregates the stupidity of another corporation. We are a corporation ourselves, so we got a white knight for him. We got to make sure we get those review copies and all that good shit. In all honesty, having covered Ubi games for more than a decade, this is fairly cut and dry compared to the ludicrously confusing abundance of special editions for some old Assassin's Creed game for which there were often very detailed charts. Again, corporate white knight shilling for another company. One company shilling for another company. So this is ultimately how this also works in journalism. It's like, let's give gamers a little taste of what they want to hear. That Ubisoft is being stupid. But then near the end of the article, we got to make sure that we're in good standing with Ubisoft, so we're going to defend it. And you want to know why? I've said it before. Here's another reason why these companies don't change. Because of gamer zombies. That's my term for a fanboy. Gamer zombies like Sean Prescott, who feel the greater need to defend a company for their stupid ass practices. Because objectively, all this is, it is irrelevant that this is one mission. All this proves is that they willfully and purposely took a mission out of the game during development and put it behind a pricier paywall. This is the same concept with pre-order bonus stuff. They develop that shit during the game and they pull it out and take it to be an incentive for you to pre-order the game. And you know what? The irony of this isn't anything new. There's a reason why the first Dragon's Dogma game came under fire as well with controversy, that dislike content. And here now in this modern generation, we have gamers like, Asmongold sucking that Capcom dick. And why? Because, it doesn't affect other players. It doesn't affect the game itself. It's like, pay to win, pay to make it easy is ultimately irrelevant whether it's a single player or online multiplayer co-op. Ultimately, objectively irrelevant. And the excuse that the game is good so it gets a pass? Well, there's another reason why gaming is never being fixed. Because of idiotic takes that I just mentioned. Whether we're talking this gentleman's idiotic take to White Knight, or whether we're talking a different kind of white knighting, but we'll also shit on them occasionally, Asmongold, who also has purchased microtransactions. So, there's that double standard right there. You expect me to take you for your word when you willfully do it because, as he stated in his own streams, it's his job. And thus why nothing changes. Because whether we're talking people in the gaming industry that have a voice, such as this game journalist, or somebody like Asmongold, or somebody like Angry Joe, who willfully purchases Madden just so he can do a negative review on the microtransactions that he knows is going to continue to exist in the same game, in the same vein. These are all people that are part of the problem. And yes, I've made my own mistakes in the past. Talked about it in videos. So we all have our part to play in this stupidity. But what needs to stop happening is gamers need to stop making excuses regardless of where they sit or work or what they do for their living. Streaming, making YouTube videos. Asmongold, Angry Joe, respectively. Alright, this article is on IGN. I just want to highlight their paragraph. However, the scope of the Jabba's Gambit mission remains unclear, leaving those who do not buy the season pass unsure of what they're missing out on. Ubisoft has said in the past that players can work for and even betray Jabba as the head of one of Star Wars Outlaws' criminal factions. Ultimately, I would say that's ultimately irrelevant. Like, to me, it's like, it doesn't matter if this is like part of the story and it was taken out. It doesn't matter if this is some stupid side quest and how it may or may not affect the overall arcing story or quest line of Jabba the Hutt. To me, is ultimately irrelevant. They willfully took something out and they're trying to make you pay for it, even though they developed it during the game. But this has been, you know, the same song and dance since the argument of pre-order bonus, and people never argued or complained about it. They used the pre-order bonus codes. I'm guilty of that myself as well back in the day. So, you know, it's kind of ironic that we also see a lot of touch a little bit on Asmongold, and it's like, you know, don't like it, don't buy it. Well, you know, speak with your wallet, but don't tell other people how they can or can't spend their money. And it's like, I know one friend of mine who says he does not speak with his wallet because nobody else is. Why should he be that one person to do it when it's not going to make a difference? And it's like, literally, he's like, what Osmond says, what other gamers say in that very vein is utterly stupid because they're too ignorant and arrogant to realize that that's not helping the gaming community in the long run because they like the game. They want to suck the dick or whatever developer is doing something shitty at that time, but yet their game is still pretty cool. And this is the biggest problem within gaming as a whole, is not just big streamers or other YouTubers / streamers like Angry Joe or my past self. We've all made our mistakes, but yet no one who, regardless of who, Asmongold likes to bitch about microtransactions because it gives him clout. We could probably even say that was the same context and iteration for me of the past. Here I am 40 years old, and it's like, I see the problem now. The problem isn't the microtransactions. It isn't the whales. It's the other whales. The ones that continuously purchase the game, but they're not going to purchase the microtransactions. It's the people that made mistakes in the past, and they were now part of the problem, but yet they don't want to be a part of the problem anymore. But it's like, we've already made our bed. And overall, ironically, Osman has stated that this is pretty much his same kind of iteration, that, you know, he used to do it a lot and nobody was listening, so why continue? So instead of being that person that continues to do it just in a silent way, he's like, well, all right, I'll just jump on the bandwagon myself and be a different kind of whale, just like Angry Joe and every other player out there. And I think that is the biggest problem when we look at any kind of controversy as a whole. Because people say that we're relatively small, you know, in terms, people online. But it's like, if we're so small, why did we get Xbox to reverse used games and DRM? Why did we get Electronic Arts to reverse DRM? And here's the other question. How is it that we failed to get Warner Brother Games and NetherRealms to reverse their DRM? That had nothing to do with the amount of gamers. It had everything to do with people will vitriolize one company, Electronic Arts, for doing something shitty, but when it comes to another company, they get a pass. And this is also something that gamers need to work on. We need to hold all these companies to the same accountability. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video in some fashion or form. And remember, gamers, you're not voicing your thoughts, concerns about the bullshit in gaming, the bullshit gamers and game journalists say. You just might be a part of the motherfucking problem.